Collective, welcome back to the realm of alignment where we unlock the body's hidden codes. Okay, listen. So today is a great topic. I really wanted to talk about some things that have to do with the heart space a lot more because I feel like these topics will really help a lot of you, all of us, because I'm still learning as I go and as I share this information in my videos. It's also teaching me, and believe it or not, I'm discovering levels of information that I haven't come across yet once I start to share these videos. So I'm really grateful to be doing this, and whatever level of support that this may get now or in the future, I'm super, super grateful for. So thank you so much. Whenever you get a chance to see this video, thank you, thank you, thank you. Today is a focus on giving and receiving. This is something I personally have always had issues with. I've always dealt with this lack of ability to receive from anybody on any level. And this is coming from a people pleaser, recovering people pleaser. One of the things I've struggled with in my childhood was learning to receive and being more so on the end of giving. And that obviously is a problem because when you're giving and you're not learning to receive, then there is a disconnect there. Receiving requires courage because in order to receive, you have to be in a state of vulnerability to a degree, right? To be able to receive on so many different levels. A compliment is one. It could be physical things. It could be help. It could be anything. It will require, you may recognize that it will require for you to be on a certain level of having courage to receive, especially if you're already in the space of not allowing yourself to have that energy, so that is all heart chakra disconnect for me, because when I look at the heart chakra teaches you to receive. The heart chakra is there for you to give love and receive love. It's all about reciprocation. So when there is no reciprocation happening, it's a disconnect in the heart space. So for a lot of us, giving feels natural, but receiving feels really uncomfortable. And you may experience this energy when you're in this place of being conditioned that when you are receiving, it doesn't feel safe. You could have been one of those children who felt like in order to receive your parents' love or your family's love, you had to be worthy of it. You had to earn the love, in order to receive that. It's transactional love. And then somewhere down the line, you've learned to adapt this transactional type of connection with other people, and then in return with energy. So we talked about money last week and talked about how those money blockages come from your nervous system, actually, and the lack of safety that you feel in your body. So now we're just breaking down and getting a little bit deeper into why you may have a hard time receiving. And I think a lot of us struggle with receiving because, like I said, it is a conditioning that's been happening since, you were a child. And I definitely was one of those kids amongst 5 other siblings who felt like, my parents' teaching style made me specifically feel like I had to earn the love or earn the appreciation. So love always felt transactional, and being able to give was always came more from a space of control as opposed to receiving. Receiving was something that didn't feel safe in my body. Do you know what I mean? Because it felt like I had to be a certain type of way in order to earn that. And if I didn't show up in that way, then, there was possibly a disappointment that I wasn't going to receive the love. So then it also created this lack of faith of even trying to, you know, strive to receive it. I became a person who gave my energy, who gave my time. That's how I started to give. To feel more a sense of security to give, because I wasn't able to find that in receiving. And a lot of you may be dealing with that type of energy where you struggle with receiving, so you're more so a giver. And you will give to your own detriment, to the level of your own detriment. You'll constantly just give, and give, and not have any boundaries for how much you give, because you've built an unsafe connection between receiving, and that's because it's become transactional, and that's because it was conditioned from childhood. So we're going to dismantle that all right now. Now that we understand that, let's move on to the next thing. So this is why emotional safety will heavily impact your ability to attract the things that you want in life. Because when you say your affirmations, when you pray, everything in your body is communicating to your brain what it is that you're feeling. So that's why they say your emotions are so powerful, and when you're manifesting, when you're praying, you have to feel that. You have to add your emotion to it. And if you're not able to add your emotion to it, then it's going to send a distorted signal to your brain, because your body is actually going to pick up genuinely how you're feeling. So for example, if you're praying for something to come in, but you're not safe in your body, and all that you're feeling in your body is uncertainty and confusion and pain, and there's a whole bunch of trauma sitting in your body, and your body is expressing that, that's what your brain is picking up on, and it's distorting the energy between your prayers, your affirmations, and how your body's actually feeling. So it may be hard to be in the energy of magnetism when you're dealing with an unbalanced and uncontrolled nervous system. When your nervous system feels unsafe, when your body feels unsafe, that's all that's being projected into your reality. Pray your way out of it. However you find your strength, however it works for you, I believe that that's what you'll have to do to help yourself. And as long as you help yourself, I feel like you will get the support that you need. But identifying that first is going to be step one. It's going to be half the battle. So I'm hoping that at some point you can find a way to feel safe in your body, so that you can start to actually receive the things that you're asking for, you're praying for, and that you deserve. You know what I mean? So one thing I noticed when my body is ready for the next chapter, or something is coming in, and you might notice this too, is this anxiousness that might come over you. So I don't believe in anxiety. I feel like all of these different clinical terms that we put on ourselves are all spirits. And I feel like when you claim them, they run your life. So I feel like it's really dangerous sometimes when you speak these things over yourself, and you have to be mindful. But that doesn't mean that you can't be aware of what's happening in your aura, in your spirit. So I think that anxiousness is not so much of a bad thing. I think anxiousness is a timeline shift. It is an awakening. It's an excitement. And the excitement is so foreign to you that your body gets anxious. Your body starts to get antsy because it's expectation. It starts to expect something. It senses something coming towards you, because you are that sensitive. You are that powerful. Your body and your spirit is that aware. More aware than you may consciously be, keen to. But I find that for me, and I feel like a lot of you might experience this and confuse the anxiousness for something negative, and try to suppress it, try to find ways to, you know, sh- kind of shake it off and get rid of it, instead of more so acknowledging the energy and understanding the energy and realizing that a lot of the times when you are timeline shifting and your body is ready for something new, it shows up as anxiousness, but really it is excitement that feels foreign. It's a different level. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. The difference between forcing the change and allowing alignment can be a very thin line, because when your body starts to signal to you that change is coming and that anxiousness starts happening, you will start to recognize what side of the spectrum that you're on. If you're really ready, you will allow yourself to come into alignment with the thing. If you have more work to do, and you've got to balance out the energy, you'll find yourself trying to force the shift to happen, force the change to happen. And that more so will come from the energy of wanting something different so bad that you don't allow the process to play out because there's a lack of trust. And when there's a lack of trust, you're not in alignment. And I think that the safest thing to do, because I had to do this, is when you find yourself in that place of trying to force the change, even though you know it's because you really want to get out of that energy so bad, is take a step back. Because if you try to take a step forward in that forced energy, it already means you're out of alignment. So you're going to take a step forward in the wrong direction. So the most important thing to do will be to pull back and try to come back to yourself, come back to your breath, and allow the change to happen. That's how alignment presents itself into your life. Because if you're already feeling the anxiousness, that means you're already on the horizon. You're already standing in the face of the shift, of the new reality, the new changes coming in. So the best thing for you to do is get out the way and just allow the alignment to happen and not force the change. So then now when we go back to last week's video about money, most of these traumatic nervous system patterns that were passed down were not even like real conversations that were had. Like nobody was taught to be this way. I believe that all of this was really inherited. You know, it was our parents inherited how they watched their parents deal with situations and deal with money and deal with poverty, and all of these things were inherited and they were passed down. We're now in a generation where we're breaking those patterns. We're changing those patterns. We're now doing things differently. We're now becoming more aware of ourselves, and we're changing the things that were inherited because we're recognizing how unhealthy these patterns always were. Even though our families did the best that they could, our parents did the best that they could with what they had, I do believe that all of that inherited energy of overgiving and oversharing and just overextending themselves, that was passed down to us, and we inherited that energy, and it didn't serve us. It really didn't serve us. I feel like it served our parents in the time that it served them, because they needed to survive in that energy at that time. That is how they were able to stay alive. That is how they were able to move forward and thrive. Not that it was healthy, of course, but they found their way through life in that sense. But I feel like we're now in a different age, we're in a different time, and those energies are not conducive to the future. It is not conducive to the growth of the collective right now. It will not be conducive to the children that are coming up, the youth that are coming up right now, the younger generation. We're trying to teach a better way of how we deal with each other. And I feel like the way the world is turning and the energy that's happening in the collective right now is on this magnitude level. This It's on this level and at such a magnitude where we can barely even fathom, you know, how we're gonna be able to change things, but it's happening. And before it gets better, it gets worse. But before our eyes, it's happening. We're making the changes, and we're starting to recognize the patterns and become the more healthy and balanced versions of our parents. And now with this new generation coming up, I believe that they will start to understand a little bit more as well how that's supposed to look, how these patterns are supposed to look, how magnetism is supposed to look, how a healthy nervous system is supposed to look. You know what I mean? So I believe that there's a bright future ahead of us and we're on the right track. So I'm going to share with you 3 somatic cues that let you know when your body is exiting out of survival mode. So the first one is the exhale gets longer. You may notice that, you're taking deeper exhales. You may notice that you're breathing more into your belly. When your body starts to sigh, when you start to let out random sighs throughout the day, that is your body actually signaling to you that you are exiting survival mode. Okay? The second one is you may notice softening in your belly, in your jaw, or pelvic floor, or all 3. You'll notice less clenching. You'll notice a sense of letting go without thinking about it. And you stop bracing for impact. So the body is so intelligent because when you are in survival mode, you'll notice because your jaw, you might be somebody who grinds their teeth when they're sleeping, or even just random times throughout the day, you might notice how tight your teeth are pressed together. That is a sign that you are in heavy survival mode. But if you start to notice that your jaw is not as tight anymore, you're not clenching your teeth anymore, you're not as tense anymore, you're starting to release, you're dropping your shoulders, you're starting to find yourself in a more relaxed state where your muscles aren't so tense. That is another sign that your body is exiting survival mode, but also a sign that your body is releasing punishment. Another one is stillness feels comfortable, not boring or scary. So this one's really hard because I know this is something I struggled with myself. Silence feels nourishing instead of threatening when your body is starting to feel safe again. Receiving can start to begin when you become comfortable with silence. You don't feel the urge to fill space with action. I'm still working on that, by the way. You can pause without guilt. You don't feel like you're wasting time because you're able to take a minute and sit down. I typically would find it so hard for me to sit in a space, quiet, and not have anything to do. I can find myself, not watching TV. I can keep my TV off all day, not listen to music all day. But the only reason why I'm able to do that is because I'm occupying myself with my phone or my laptop, and I'm reading something or working on something, but my mind is always busy. And it's a struggle for me to find myself in a quiet space, just not doing anything. Anytime it gets too calm, I start to worry. I start to overthink, So I completely understand how hard that can be and the work it takes to get into that space of safety and feeling like receiving is a form of safety as well. It's safe to receive. So when the body feels safe, receiving becomes natural, not something you have to manifest. Okay, so receiving isn't something that you force. It's something that you allow yourself to align with. And that's something that I would love for you all to take away from this video. Don't force yourself to receive. Because again, if you force it, you're stepping outside of alignment. And if you make a move outside of alignment, you'll be going in the wrong direction. So allow yourself. And that's going to take work in itself as well. That will take a lot of work to find yourself in a place of allowing the alignment. But I know you can do it. We're all here together. We're all working through this. I'm in this with you. I'm healing as I go actively. You're not in this by yourself. I'm here with you. So I completely understand what you're dealing with and what you're going through, but just know you can do this. You can make it to the other side. You can change your inherited beliefs. You can change the way your body has processed trauma and made you feel like, you can't make changes, but you can. You can do it, and we're doing it together. So thank you so much for being here today and for showing up for yourself and for trying any of these exercises or just starting to become aware of how your body is responding to things. I'm grateful for you for doing that for yourself, and I know you are going to see some amazing things coming forth in your life because you chose to do so. I don't want to bombard you guys with too much in this video, so we will close this out here. Thank you so much for joining today. I really appreciate your love and your support, and whatever you can do to follow any of these steps in this video would feel so amazing to me. It would mean the world to me if this helps anybody. Okay, so whenever anybody comes across this video, I hope that you use this to your benefit and share this with someone else that you might feel needs this information. And please do not take this as medical support or advice. Please go to the doctors if you feel like you're really dealing with some serious mental health issues. Go and get professional help, okay? Professional support. Also, I just dropped my Quantum Ascension workbook on Amazon. It is a 90-day exercise that snaps you back into self-awareness, your strength, chakra realignment, all 90 days, get you to rededicate to yourself and devote yourself to yourself. So that's on Amazon, and if you get a chance to, please check it out and grab the book, send it to somebody, or use it for yourself, because I really do believe that this would be helpful for anybody who feels like they need to find a way to devote themselves to themselves. And this workbook, it's exciting because every day there's a new exercise, there's great shadow work questions, there is a dosha quiz experiment that you get to do in that book that gets you to understand your energy on a much deeper level, to see what exactly you need to bring you to the next level. So don't miss out on that for sure. Thank you once again for tuning in. I love you guys so much. I'm looking forward to 2026. So happy 2026 to everyone. And may you have an abundant, prosperous, and productive year. I wish you all the blessings, okay? And I will see you in the next one. Peace.